what do you do next? You say, well, let me start looking at buildings. Let me figure out this. How much does this machine cost? How much does this machine cost? What do I want to do? Do you start writing this stuff down?
I did. I didn't know where to start. Let me tell you this. I was like, where do I go? Where do I get these things from? Like, how do you, what do? You get a business license? Like, what is this, right? So honestly, I had to do research. I had to look it up. I had to look about insurance, how to do this, how to do that.
Workers' comp, right?
Absolutely.
All these different things, right?
These things are not easy. You know, I even reached out to somebody that was already...
Welcome, Marissa, to the studio.
Thank you.
We've been friends for a while.
Yes.
And you have an interesting business, which is Muse Body Sculpting.
Yes.
Very interesting business. Very unique of how somebody can get into this type of business.
Absolutely.
And I know there's a lot of words that you'll be using that is not in my vocabulary. So I will just... we'll just flow with those words. So forgive me, everybody who's watching, if I don't know those words.
Don't worry, I'll explain to you guys, so don't worry about it.
So Marissa, your business, so you help people in a very unique way.
Absolutely.
You use apparatus and machines and stuff, and you burn away people's fat, tighten their skin.
Yes.
What do you call someone who does that?
You know what? For me, I've been in this industry for over 10 years. Okay. For me, I'm an aesthetic nurse.
Aesthetic nurse?
Aesthetic nurse.
Okay.
So I specialize more in like the beauty of nursing, I would say, the aspect, if you want to keep it very clear.
Okay.
So I'm also a bariatric nurse. So bariatric nurse means that I work with clients that have trouble getting rid of stubborn fat and also weight loss. Okay. So what I've done in my business, I have combined the two. So aesthetic nursing.
Okay, go ahead. What's the aesthetic nursing first?
Right. So aesthetic nursing is working with, it's a combination of bariatric nursing and working with the beauty of nursing industry. Right. Mm-hmm. So it's not like I'm working with clients that are in the hospital or so. It's more aesthetically, they want to improve certain things. Okay. Bariatric means more like, I have a weight loss. Okay. So combination, that is my background. That's how I started off. I've worked with a doctor that kind of gave me my big break. Right. In nursing. So it was weight loss and aesthetic combination together.
So let's go back years. Like when you were in school, did you say, hey, I'm going to wake up and I want to take care of people and I want to help remove fat and tighten them up? And was that your passion? Is that what you wanted to do? Was that in your mind when you began, like 16, 17? Like, is that where your mind was?
You know what? No. So obviously I woke up just like any other person and was like, what am I going to do? Right? What do I want to do? So my family, I have a lot of family members that are in the medical field. So, my father's in the medical field, so he kind of pushed me into that direction.
What was he doing in the medical field?
So he takes care of patients. Okay. And I said, you know what? That may be something that I may want to do, you know? So I started off as a CNA. So a CNA is a certified nurse assistant. Okay. So that means that I'm showering patients, I'm taking care of patients, I'm getting them dressed, I'm getting them ready, and so forth. So I would say that is the start for nurses, to kind of get things going. And then I said, you know what? I want to make it another step further. So I decided to go to school to be a nurse. So it's a licensed nurse. Okay. So that is hard work. I would say it took a year. I went to a private school and studied very hard for that. And after the school is done, you decide what you want to be. Where do you want to work at? But
with the idea of you going into schooling, right, and you're going to become a nurse, you were thinking that I'm going to get back into doing this as a higher level of nursing, but you weren't going into the aesthetic portion of the nursing, right? Was that on your radar at that point?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
So let me tell you how I fell into that. Okay. So let's get to the aesthetic part. So one day I applied for this position. It was aesthetic nurse, bariatric nurse. And I said, let me apply there.
This is after you got your credentials, right?
After I got my credentials, I applied there. And let me tell you, it kind of fell into place. At first, I was like, you know what? I don't know if I want to do that. It's kind of far. It's an hour drive away. And one of my friends, she's a nurse, and she was like, you know what? You should just go. You should just go to the interview. Threw on some clothes, and I said, you know what? I'm just going to go, see how it goes. I interviewed with somebody, and I was like, I love it. I love the ideal of it.
Which portion was it that was so appealing to you?
It was more like, okay, you're going to be working hands-on with clients, doing a particular treatment, which is something I currently do now, and education. I am so big on teaching and education. It was a thrill for me. I helped clients lose weight. I talked to them. I coached them. That was something new after I finished my nursing license. And I was like, I love it. I fell in love with it. I ran with it, and I totally made a difference in the practice where I was at. I built the doctor's practice. We're friends till now. I love him to death. And then I decided to branch off later, but that was just a passion I loved.
So like while you were doing this, like you get to see the change in people, right?
Absolutely.
And that inside spirit that people have.
Absolutely.
And you're seeing somebody comes in maybe self-conscious, feeling bad about themselves.
Absolutely.
Like with that part of seeing the change, how emotionally do you get connected with these people? Because I could imagine that you're touching their souls, right?
I am. For me, I take it very personal. Okay. It is a deep connection. I have clients after they're done with the program of weight loss. They're like, you know what? Meeting you has changed my life. You know, they've left reviews. Those reviews touch me till now. I look back at them and see how I have connected with clients, discussing things with them. It's a personal thing for me.
Very personal.
Very personal, because I have been there. I know what it takes to get the client to where they need to be at. And from being in this industry, I really do take it to heart, and it's something that I really, truly do love. And this is why I'm here today. You know, this is the profession that I choose, and we'll get to that part. Yeah.
So like, you know, like with people coming in, right, and
yes.
how you touch people. So you've obviously had, or I presume that you would have had people who were already somewhat perfect, let's call it, in your eyes.
Sure.
And how do you deal with that? So is people who are striving for the perfection, and sometimes when we see ourselves, and is there a true perfection?
You know what? For me, I would say I'm very honest in what I do. So if somebody comes in and says, you know, and they look perfect in my eyes, we would have this conversation, you know, educationally, and say, you know what? I think you're great how you are. And I, as a profession, don't think you need this. Mm-hmm. So I think with me personally as a nurse, I truly do give my opinion of what the client will need. And if they don't need it, you know what? Don't do it.
They're not screaming at you, take me,
Absolutely.
take me.
You know what? I've had that. Yeah. No, I'm so serious. So crazy part is in this industry, I have had people that says, take me. Like, I need it. I do need it, Marissa. I do need it. Yeah. And I would tell them, you know what? You don't need this, and explain why they don't need this. Yeah. And it's a case-to-case base why. And, you know, unfortunately, some people will just push it. And, you know, we have this conversation, and, you know, that's something that I would let them know, you know. But for me, I would say being in this industry as a pioneer, you know, I really do give my honest opinion about clients and what they need. It's a case-to-case base with all clients that I do encounter, and it is really it's a passion for me. I think that's why I move forward with this, and I love it.
Maybe it's
Absolutely.
the Virgo spirit too that comes out.
That's what
Because I know we're both Virgos.
It is a Virgo passion for me. I am a Virgos, right? We love it. Where I would say we're dedicated.
Yes.
I'm dedicated. If the client needs, I'm always checking to see where they're at, where they need to be at. How can I help you? What can I do? And I'm only one person, but guess what? If I know that person needs extra help,
you're on it.
I'm on it. I have to be.
So with your family supporting you in this, so when you were first coming into this, right, did you tell them, hey, I'm going to be doing this? And what was their opinion of that versus going into nursing? Because everybody sees nursing as normal. And then you see this going, oh my God, you're going to be doing this for people?
Right.
How are they supportive of you? Were they encouraging? They say, are you sure you want to do this? Did they try to push you in a different direction?
You know what? I think my family is I wouldn't say I think, they're very supportive of what I do as long as I'm happy about it. And here's the great part. I fell into this from the beginning. So it's not like, I did do a few other nursing things, but it was briefly because I felt like my journey was to be somewhere else.
Got it.
Okay. I pursue wherever my journey is at. So when I fell into it, the interview where I was, when I first interviewed, I said, this is for me. This is where my spirit belongs. And this is where I'm still at after 10 years.
Yeah, so it resonated with you.
It does.
And this touches me to the core.
And I feel like this is where I need to be. And I am definitely helping clients execute where they need to be. Right. And for me, it's a personal relationship with everybody that I do work with. And I love to be hands-on with a lot of my clients.
Because you're a very people person too.
I am.
And that goes hand in hand with what you're doing because you've got people there because I think you also like to be a part of it.
Absolutely. I do like to be a part of my clients' experience and their journey because I initially connect with them. And it's not, for me, I would say it's not just the business.
Yes.
It is a lifestyle. It is something that I'm helping you with. Personally, they may be going through something. Yeah. Hey, this is what happened to me. I'm going through a divorce. I've gained this much. I've this is what's happened to me and I'm not happy. Yeah. And for me, it is not, again, it's not just the job. It is for me as a nurse to help the client. And this is also therapeutic. Yeah. Remember,
so you're going to need to title yourself aesthetic psychologist.
I really do. I swear I do. But guess what? I love it. Yes. I'm a people person. Yes. I really love what I do. I can't imagine when I do have staff there, they might be like, I need Marissa. Wait, I like you, but I still need her, right? But for me, I'm very selective of, who would be my next.
So going back into that. So let me go into it. So you went to work at a practice.
Yes, correct.
And while you were at the practice, you were getting your fingers in the pie, like you were understanding of what was going on, learning the business.
Yes.
So as you were learning, like when you were doing that and as you were growing it, because you succeeded very well at the company that you were at prior.
Correct.
So at what point, so how was that journey from when you began there to wanting to say, let me branch out into my own practice?
Sure. So what's my journey now?
Well, while you were there, so actually leading up to where you were, before you get to where you are now.
Sure.
I'm going to go into that.
Absolutely. So that was so long ago. During that time frame, I just saw myself as helping others. Okay. I didn't think of opening up my own practice during that time.
So the thought never even popped into your brain?
During that time, no. Okay. During that time. So during that time, I just was like, wow, I've helped so many clients. They're requesting to see me, meet with me. The practice just grew very, very heavy. And then during that time frame, I moved. I was a mom again to my second child. and the commute was just too far. Right. I was there for maybe like 4 years or so, something around that duration.
But what were you striving for? Did you want to be like the head person there? Was there a title you were going for?
So I was the lead nurse there. Okay. I helped the doctor with a lot of different ventures. Me and the staff was very close connect. I trained the staff on how to discuss education. For me, I'm so big on education. I would say I am 100% big on education. If you're not doing it right, we have some trouble, right?
That's Virgo perfection again.
That is us. I am such a Virgo perfectionist, and I actually trained a Virgo there, and she is a killer. So she's amazing. And the staff there, my goal was to execute, to make sure that when I left, the staff was doing perfection, and they sure are.
So were you trying to create mini U's?
I was.
That was a part of your success,
Absolutely.
Right? Because you were making mini U's that were replicating what you were doing.
Absolutely.
So that you could actually keep growing to the next level.
Absolutely.
And then the practice would be growing, right?
Absolutely. Of what I wanted for the physician's practice.
Yes.
And it worked. It worked. So it was duplicate of me, more like education. There can never be another me. Obviously, we want to create something that somebody is passionate, and then the nurses that were hired were definitely executing it. You will know right away who is determined, who is studying, who really wants it. Yeah. And the practice was successful from that point.
Did you have a couple of bad seeds there too?
I did. We did. You can tell right away. I've been hiring people for such a long time. Yeah. Been in the industry for a long time. You can tell from the first, interview, or from the first, couple visits that they have with clients that what the progression will be for that individual.
And how did you deal with the bad seeds? Like, I'm not saying they're bad people.
Yeah, sure.
So just like, how did you try to bring them up to your standard? Could you do it? Was it easy to do it? Was it hard? Did you just have to say, hey, it's time to give them the chop?
I would say there's a discussion. There's always a discussion with me. And, sometimes employees' mind it could be personal.
Yes.
Why they're not executing, okay? And usually that's the factor. They're not executing because it's personal for them, whatever they're going through. Yes. That's something that I will have this discussion with. And if they can't shake it, that's another conversation, right? And they cannot be in the practice if they're not able to deliver to all clients.
Yes.
So yes, I've had a couple run-ins with a few nurses that were not able to dedicate themselves or to fulfill the client's needs. Absolutely.
So where did the idea, all of a sudden, where did the idea spark from how do I create my own practice, and how you say, okay, well, the time frame or the planning period that you had to go through to do this? Because it's a big leap, and it's a very hard leap for a lot of people.
It's a big leap. I would say I got my big break from working with another for my first practice ever. After that, I worked for another practice.
Okay, so you were doing two at once?
I did. I left that position because the other position was closer to my place after I had my son. And then that one was a little different. So that one was like Botox, filler, but I was still practicing what I did from the first place and executing that position very well. After that, I went back into bariatric nursing, which is weight loss. So remember, my first field I was in was aesthetic and bariatric nursing, weight loss combined, okay? Then I strictly went into weight loss only. And I cannot, for some reason, I just keep bouncing back. So that was my last position.
Got it.
Okay.
So with that, was there a different caliber of people in your second practice coming? Because you mentioned Botox now, right?
Yes.
Obviously it's on TV, and that's a word I know. Not that I do it, but it's a word I know.
Neurotoxins, yes. Yeah.
So is there a different caliber of person coming in for that versus, let's say, the weight loss, would you say?
So during that time was cool sculpting, cryolipolysis. they're coming in for more aesthetic appearance. And then we have clients coming in for body. Hey, I want to get rid of specific areas. I've been working out in the gym. I want to get rid of, skin laxity in my arms or fat in my arms or my abdominal area. So I would say it's a different type of clients that are coming in. And then you have those that are trying to get rid of stubborn areas. Then, of course, I went back into just weight loss strictly.
Which is which you like the most, right?
I do. And then I guess next question is, what sparked you? So one day I was browsing Instagram. Okay.
So you're doing the usual, right. The flipping.
This is true story. Okay. I was browsing Instagram and I was like, body sculpting. I'm like, I can do that. Like that's something that I'm pretty much like proficient in. And not only that, I've been doing this for years and educating. I woke up and I said, I'm going to open up my own business. Kid you not.
Was with your husband, you had the conversation with your husband? We were bouncing this idea?
I did. So I told him, I said, I'm going to open up my own business. And he said, okay, that sounds good. I said, no, I'm opening it up now. Yes. And he was like, and he was like, okay, yeah, maybe at the end of the year. And I was like, no. I was like, no. I'm doing it now because for me, I feel like I've been in this industry. Yes. I've taught for, I've trained so many nurses. I've worked with the highest of the highest. And I said, you know what? People need to know the truth. Yeah. People need to be educated the right way. This is not just an industry for, okay, I'm going to do your treatment. Goodbye.
Yes. Because you really do explain stuff. When you're explaining stuff, I mean, you've had chats and
absolutely.
You explain stuff to a level that I'm saying, man, maybe I should have bought my book. because it's really next level and you use these words like the cryopis or I don't know.
Yeah, cryolipolysis.
Okay, there you
Correct.
go. Which you can explain what that is in a second, but
yeah.
Okay, so you say to your husband that hey, I want to do this, I want to just get this going, and he's saying next end of the year, but you've got the paintbrush in your hand, saying I'm ready to go paint.
I did. For me, I'm a go-getter. I have to. Like I don't.
So you were on it.
I was on it. Like my heart was like saying like, I don't care if I don't have this much money. But you know what? I'm going to invest because guess what? I believe in me.
Trust in yourself.
I believe in me. I believe in me because I know what I've done to many other practices. I have built practices and guess what? I am going to build me and my practice and make sure every client is aware of what's going on. So for me, my number one aspect is to make sure clients are educated and they know what we've spoke about. And I think that's something that's really, really embedded in me to do. So when you leave after speaking to me, you will be educated as much as I've educated myself to you. Yeah. So that's something that I really do take pride in.
Okay, so you had this conversation.
Yes.
Now, what do you do next? You say, well, let me start looking at buildings. Let me figure out this. How much does this machine cost? How much does this machine cost? What do I want to do? Do you start writing this stuff down?
I did. I didn't know where to start. Let me tell you this. I was like, where do I go? Where do I get these things from? Like, how do you, what do? You get a business license? Like, what is this, right? So honestly, I had to do research. I had to look it up. I had to look about insurance, how to do this, how to do that.
Workers' comp, right?
Absolutely.
All these different things, right?
These things are not easy. I even reached out to somebody that was already established on Instagram and was like, hey, how do you get insurance, right? And she was luckily to tell me. And pretty much from that point, and I had family members assisting me, helping me to, what do you want your name to be? And I was like, okay, and off the back, I was like, I want it to be Muse Body Sculpting.
And where did that name come from? Like, how did you come up with so quickly with the name?
You know what? Muse to me is, I would say it is that everyday person It is that mother that's working hard. It is that father that's taking their kids to school. It is that person that you look up to. There's a journey for everybody. Yep. You're walking into the clinic. You're walking into the business of Muse Body Sculpting. You have a journey. You have something that you want to fulfill. It is that person that is that muse to me that I look up to. Yeah. And I think that's where I just created that name, and it just felt right. It just felt right to me. It just felt right. And I think people really don't ask that question, and you ask that question. The muse is somebody like you. You know, I've met you, and you are definitely a journey in my life.
Thank you.
And somebody to meet, and it's definitely inspiration for sure.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, so you're getting this thing going. You're looking for the thing. You're looking for the licenses.
Yes.
You're trying to figure out, what do I do next? What was your first biggest step? What was your first step that you said, this was a big hurdle and this was like my number one to figure out how to do? What was your biggest step?
I would say like getting a license, a business license. It's no joke. It is a lot of work.
Yes. And that's with the fire department involved.
Oh God, it is a lot of work. You know, you have to apply. You know, you have to discuss what type of business you're in. Yep. You have to renew these things. You have to stay on top of these.
Yes.
So I would say that was something that was hard for me. However, you know, once I've completed that, now I will remember that, and it will be something easy for me moving forward every year.
It kind of sucks that, like, with the way the system is structured,
right,
all this compliance stuff takes you away from what you want to do.
Absolutely.
Because even with the way that I do my business, the same thing. I have to get these licenses, I have to renew my licenses, make sure someone's watching those licenses, renew again. Now when you have 5, 6 licenses, and you have to keep going and going and going. And then when you miss it, they come, here you go, here's your fine.
Right.
There's your $10,000. Pay the piper.
Right.
So it's like it takes you away from what you're doing, and I think it's an unfair thing. Or I wish it was a little more simpler.
Right. I definitely would say, I wish it was much easier, you know, to do. But I would say this is the struggles that you go through, and you know, you will reap the benefits. And for me, since I'm just starting up, I've been in the industry, but I'm starting up. Yeah. It has been, I would say my clients are a joy for me. Yes. You know, just
give you the reason, right?
Yeah, they give me a reason. You know, I see them. It just definitely, it makes me happy, you know, to know that I'm furthering things and moving further. And it's
changing
a joy
people's
for me.
lives. Yeah.
Absolutely, I would say.
So now, what about like even the fact of getting a building? That is a very nail biter, because even when I got my first one, and it was very small, my first one was tiny, and I was biting my nails saying, oh my God, did I really do this? $3,000 a month? How am I going to do this? And so like that is a very big thing, a big step, because now you got to have faith in yourself, right? And say, okay, I've got to be able to produce. You're running the numbers. What happens if I do this? What's my contingency plan?
Yes.
So how did you make that move, and how did that affect you emotionally while you were trying to make that move? Because that is huge.
That is huge. I would say I have my own mortgage in my own home. Okay, so I'm paying almost another mortgage.
Yes.
And I'm paying for the kids' daycares and you know, activities. Yes. So for me, of course, I'm like any other human, and I'm not just like, oh, it's gonna be okay. I'm struggling, you know. I was of course, it's a mental thing.
Yes,
you definitely do feel it.
Yes,
you feel it. You are thinking of it every day, like every day. But of course, I'm very spiritual, so I do, you know, call on the higher being and just know that I can do it.
Yes.
You know, with your family, you know, backing you, your friends. Yep. It's something that you push yourself to do.
Yes.
You know, because guess what? You're the only one doing it.
Yes, everything is on your shoulders.
It's on your shoulders.
Yep.
So you have to grow the strength, because remember, I come from the bottom. So you come from building the business, you're here, you're there. Every single step, you are making progress, and it gets you stronger and stronger. So I would say I've overcome a lot, but I'm still growing. I would say. Absolutely.
So so obviously I've seen your practice growing, or I've seen it like being put together, and seeing the steps that you're taking. So with that, where do you envision it in the future? So from where it is now, where do you want to take it? Like, where's the idea or the visualization that you have to where it's going? Like, what do you want it to turn into at some point?
Absolutely. For me, my vision is very wide. I have so much things that I want to do. Currently, what I want to do is turn the wellness location into a place where there's entrepreneurs like myself. Meaning, like, when I first started out, somebody to help guide others, somebody to help them with different aspects of what they're doing. What can I improve, as not me, but I can always improve, but meaning that I have a new entrepreneur that is in the location and I'm able to help them. Because when I started out, I was like, where do I go? There's nobody that I know that's doing this. And how do I begin? And I am here to help others if they need help in assisting what they need to move on forward. So that's something that I would like to do.
When you're speaking to like people that because obviously a lot of people in this industry.
Absolutely.
Are a lot of people motivated by what you're doing because they never had the, and I'm not saying in a negative way, but it's like the courage or the strength to take that jump over the hurdle? Do you have people who are looking up to you and saying, man, you did it. You really did it. I've been doing this for 20 years and I didn't do it.
Right. You know what I do? I have a lot of friends, in the medical field, high in the medical field, that are like, wow, and some are making the leap now into opening up their own practices. And you know what? For me, I'm all about encouragement. I am that energetic person that will cheer you on till the end, because that's just who I am. It's the Virgo energy, right? Like I've had some that just, they opened up their own practices and they are doing it. And, I am that person that I'm all about love and good vibes. And I will say, oh my God, I'm so happy for you. I'm so excited for you. I'll cheer them on in their comments and everything. And that's just somebody who I am, because I'm all about winning, all about winning and encouraging no matter what you do. Absolutely. I'm excited.
So like on back onto challenges. What would you say is, like the scariest part of this whole journey? What's the scariest part for you that like just makes you worried or concerned? Like what's your biggest concern?
Biggest concern is, I would say it's just always about, so for me, I always say, don't think negative. Don't think negative.
Sorry for that question then.
Right? Right? Because I've thought that, right? Because you have to think of the good and the negative, right?
You have to.
But if you keep thinking about the negative, it will be your reality. You understand? Like for me, I can't think that.
Like you manifest it, right?
Absolutely. You want to manifest that everything's going to go well. Because in my head, I've built XYZ practice. Their practice has done so well. Why can't mine do so well, right? So I try not to think negative. I can't, because again, you'll manifest it and it'll become your reality. So I think positive, because guess what? That's going to be my reality. So I can't even answer that, because like I have to manifest the goodness of what the practice holds. Am I helping others? So for me as a practitioner, I have to say, am I doing my job? Am I helping XYZ? Am I fulfilling this with the entrepreneurs? And once I go around all those questions, and if I do have something where I'm not, I will fix that. So I would say I always have to manifest the goodness of what I'm doing in the practice, if that makes sense.
No, perfect sense. So what about haters, right? Because as you're doing it, seeing as you like to scroll on Instagram. So there's a lot of haters out there. And I don't think that it's intentionally that they're hating on people, but it's more of that you were doing something beyond what other people were doing, right? So you have that. Yeah. Have you had a lot of that?
You know what? I don't see it like that. For me, let me tell you, for me, I don't really like look at like, I love every entrepreneur that's out there and I cheer everybody on. But for me, I focus on me. Yeah. I focus solemnly on me. Because guess what? If you're looking at the next person's information, you ain't going to make it.
That's right.
I do not look at the next person's page or whatever you want to call it, or looking here.
You just sneak a look.
Yeah,
right?
You know what?
It's
I
not like
a little
this.
peek and be like, oh, you know what? That's really beautiful aesthetic. I love it. I do have a couple of people that I do follow, and I love their practice. Yeah. I love it because I know
inspired by it.
Yeah, I'm inspired. In other countries, other cities. I love it. I love what they're doing locally to me. I'll say, oh my God, she's doing amazing. She looks great. I love it. However, solemnly focus on me. Yes. I'm not always looking at there because they're competitors. Yeah. They're competitors, right?
But there's enough fish in the sea. There's enough for everybody to go fishing.
There's enough for everybody to, and guess what? There is always that client for you. There is that client for me, and everybody wins. Yes. So you want to base it on everybody wins. Why would I want to be a hater? Yes. Because that's not my energy. And I'm sure people know me as not like that.
No, you're super positive.
Right? Like I am so like, oh my God, I love it. You look great. You look amazing. And I think that for me, that has always been my energy. Yes. You can walk in my practice now and you will never know that I'm upset. Yeah. Because I am just like.
Because the music's always pumping.
Yes, there you go. The music's pumping. I'm going. And I always, I revert back to the practice, like you asked about clients, if they're not fulfilling, leave that where it needs to be outside. Once you walk into the practice, you are Marissa. Yes. You are Marissa. You are helping that person that needs you the most. Yes. You cannot bring that energy that you brought from home to this client. Yes. Because they paid to see you and they adore you. Yep. So that's something that I always let my employees know, wherever I was before, and even currently in the practice when I do have my nurses working, they will know, do not bring that
Leave
energy.
the negativity at the door and take it with you when you go home if you want it.
There you go. Right. That's how I see it. Absolutely.
So obviously there's a lot of stress behind this too, right? Because everybody thinks the entrepreneurial life is just all flowers and roses.
Oh God. And it's not.
So how do you deal with stress, or what do you do to decompress besides to go to sushi with your friends?
Okay, for me, I am, ask my husband. You know what? I would say my husband is 100% of a major supporter. Okay. He has heard it from ear to ear, honestly, right? You gotta be honest. I have to be honest.
So you bought him some big headphones for Christmas, right?
Yeah, for me, a stress relief, I would say, is I'm a big movie person, right? I love Top Gun. I'm such a big fan. I love to decompress by watching movies. Yep. I love it. Or music. Music, I'm such a big fan of music. On my way here, I was like, let me just kind of relieve myself. Yep. Music, meditation, and for me to just unwind is watch a movie, and also just to get away. It's just, if I'm in Target shopping by myself,
just zone out
somewhere by myself, or honestly, I could be in the house just cleaning, nobody's talking to me. I'm just in my peace, in my zone. That is me. That's something for me. I have to really take control of myself to not stress out. So I would say that would be my metaphor for myself.
Yeah, because I think that it's a misconception with a lot of people. They think, you know what, the owners and the entrepreneurs are just running down the street, you know, bags of cash. But there is so much stress that goes with it.
There is.
And even for myself, like it takes like, I would say probably an hour to 2 hours to decompress from my normal day.
You're right.
And it's very hard. It really does take a toll on your physical body because you go through so much.
Absolutely. I would say also missing out. I try to work out too. It really does decompress.
You're doing that bicycle thing, right?
The cycling.
With your mom?
With my mom, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she's my cheerleader. She's just like me. Yeah. She is like that energy. She is like, I would say she is like more than me. She's gave birth to me. Come on, I can't be better than her. She's amazing. I really love her for all of her support. If I'm stressing out, I would talk to her. Yeah. Mom, you know what? I am actually like, we're having breakfast and I'm thinking about something and I'm like, I'm just stressed out. She's like, you need to stop stressing out. You know,
got it, girl.
She's like, you got it. And you know what? You need to just stop thinking about that because if you keep thinking about it, it's going to manifest.
There you go.
And she's like, you need to just stop it. You know, we're having breakfast right now. Yeah, so I'm just like, okay. But it's not always roses. Yes. It is, don't believe what you see online. Yeah. You know,
don't believe Instagram all the way.
Don't believe it. Don't believe it because it is hard work.
Yes.
Entrepreneurs create, you know, we may be working another full-time job.
Yes.
And also running our practice.
Yes.
It is, you don't know what we do behind the scenes. Yep. You know, we're away from our family. We're away from our friends because we are trying to build a life for generations, yes. Right? Like my children, yep. You know, I'm trying to build the practice for them, and I am going through it. So one day you might see me excited. Yep. The next minute, I am just like, don't talk to me. I am so stressed out. I need a massage, right? I do that sometimes. But it is a lot of work, you know, and you know, big props to you because it's a lot of work.
Yes,
you know, it is.
It is a lot of work.
It is,
and that's why, like, I'm the meditating guy.
Absolutely,
so I like to meditate. That is my go-to place.
Yes.
Otherwise, it's grocery shopping.
Yeah.
So I like walking around the aisle, not thinking.
I love it. I see. There you go. You're like me. Absolutely. It's been a great journey.
Yeah.
I would say for me, going from the bottom and like, okay, license. Okay, this is stressing me out. Okay, now your own building. Okay, this is stressing me out more.
Yes.
Okay, what? You need this permit? Okay, this is stressing me out even more. I'm working as a nurse somewhere else and building my practice. This is stressing me out even more. Once you kind of get through those hurdles, yep. You will be unstoppable. Unstoppable
until the bigger hurdle comes.
The bigger hurdle
keeps getting bigger, and you have to overcome it. Your next challenge, next level, next game.
There you go. I feel like I've been going through the next game, the next hurdle, but I am only getting stronger.
Yes, and owning it.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And again, it is not easy. It is the commitment that you make. To your business, you make to your clients, you make to yourself, you make to your family, and you just keep running with that cycle over and over.
Does like with your growing practice, is it affecting your family life? Like obviously because you have to put a lot of time in to this. So how do you manage that?
You know what? Family is supportive. I would say my kids, they love it, you know. My daughter is she's 10 years old. She definitely is excited for the practice. Yes. I wish she was 18 so she could help me.
You need those extra hands.
Right. I told her today, Haven, I wish that you were like 18 so you can help mom. Like, seriously. She's like, well, why can't I be like 13 to help you? And I was like, because. I would say like, for me as a mom, it's the time away sometime, but my family understands, you know, I'm not missing too much, you know, and it works with our family.
Yes.
Our families help to support babysitting if needed. But, you know, for me, I know when too much is too much.
Yes.
If I'm away from my kids, then I would adjust what I need to do. But so far, it's not affecting. And, you know, sometimes I'll bring them along with me. Yeah.
So what's your goal for this year? Like, what's on your radar for this year? What do you want to achieve this year?
I would say this year, since I'm expanding my practice to other entrepreneurs, that's something that I really want to achieve this year. And it's early January, so it's early in the year. So definitely that's something that I'm sure I'll execute. I am planning to get in other ventures this year and do other services for myself and for the clients. So I would say for me, it's always improvement and there's always good things to follow.
Oh, fantastic.
I'm excited.
Well, I love what you do. I like the fact that you help people.
Yes.
I think that on a soul level, I think that it's very meaningful because you give people strength and sometimes they just need to hear your voice, encouraging them to feel better about themselves. So I really value what you do for everybody.
Thank you.
And any last words that you would like to say besides where your location is? And we'll put your details up just in case you want to take a look.
Sure, absolutely. For anybody that's, you know, that's experiencing or wanting to go into the industry like myself, you can do it. I'm a mom of two. You know, I'm a wife. You know, I work as a full-time employee. I manage a team as a nurse as well, and also work the business. I feel like I work 2 full-time jobs, you know. But my passion, of course, is into my practice. So that's something that I will be moving forward with just because I love what I do. Yes. People say, why do you do this? And then you do that. Yeah. I say, I love what I do, you know.
Love what you do is very important.
I love what I do. It is, now, if it was something that I didn't like, I wouldn't do it.
Yes.
It's something that I really love what I do, and that's helping clients get to where they need to be at. Yes. So you can do it. I say anybody can do it. It comes with a little bit of hurdles, trials, but remember, you have to be strong, resilient, to get that, to get over that. And guess what? It'll be really worth it once you conquer what you need to do. Yeah. Absolutely, I would say.
Marissa, thank you very much for sharing, and I appreciate you coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
It's always great to see you.
Thank you. Thank you, Marissa.
Thank you.